Welcome back, everybody. All right, it is Wednesday night. I have to work, so it'd be like every day or so. I am gonna try and do this on iMovie. I think I said that in the last clip. If I didn't, I am working on it, but for some reason it won't download. So I gotta go get that figured out. I don't know. Every time I click download, it goes all the way through the process. I go to click it open, and it just asks if I want to download it again. So I don't know what that is, but so here's what we have today. I stayed and worked late so that I can get the header bolts fixed on the cylinder heads. So on this one, it wasn't too chewed up. So what I did there is I just upgraded the size of the hole and went to a 3/8/24 tap. So I have one bolt that you'll see. Cute little thing. It's gonna be different. And the good thing about that is I only have the one that's different. So that means I'll always know where it needs to go. And then on the other side, it's gonna be kind of hard to see in here. I actually have an insert. Now, I was trying to keep everything the same so I didn't have to change bolts, specifically for the reason of only having the one. So the hole on that side was so screwed up, I had to drill it out pretty large. So what I did is I drilled out the hole for a 1/2 screw. And then I made a 1/2 screw, drilled it, tapped it for M8x125, and then slotted it for a screwdriver so I could screw it in all the way so it's recessed and it wasn't up. And the reason I did it that way is because when you tighten it, I also put Loctite, make sure I mention that. Red Loctite, quite a bit of it, on the threads on the screw itself, so it should lock in there pretty good. But the idea is that when you tighten that bolt in, if that insert comes loose, it's gonna push in. And then if you go to take it out, my process is gonna be taking that one out first, because that will limit how far it can come out. It can only come out as far as the header flange, and then it's gonna stop because the header flange would still be bolted to the cylinder head across the rest of the bolts. So it seems like it works. I did test fit it. That all works, so that's situated. The next thing on our list was this. Again, the light in my garage is not the best. So you can see the valve covers are now painted. They didn't do a fantastic job. I didn't do a crappy job. I just kind of did a quick job. Dennis was giving me a ton of crap because they look like I just pulled them out of the junkyard because I hadn't done anything with them. He yelled at me when I brought him the valve cover so he could weld this fitting right here on for the return line. They were gross, they were nasty, I needed to clean them. So I got downtime, so I did. They're clean, they're pretty. The goal is I'm gonna try and pretty some stuff up. I'm working on cleaning up all of the odds and ends that I kind of skipped over and I jumped ahead on because I was rushing and I wanted to get stuff done. And I was like, oh, I'll go back and fix that later. I'll go back and fix that later. Well, it's later, so we're gonna fix some stuff. What else? I'm going to install, I don't know if I showed you guys this. We have fuel pressure sensor. I picked it up. It's not a high dollar one, so if it craps out, I'll buy another one. But it should, I've heard good things, people have had good luck with them, so I'm gonna put it in. And what I'm gonna do is, because of where all of the wiring comes through the intake, it kind of just sits on this driver side area, because that's where your IAC is, TPS, all that stuff. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this and stick this in here and extend this out a little bit, and then I'll figure out where I can fit this. This wiring is just spare. It came with it. I'm not gonna complain. It's free wiring, and it's the same plug as a lot of other sensors, so it's good to have. But the harness already has a plug for this wired out. So, but yeah, so we're gonna extend this out right here. I'm gonna push this out. I'll put the sensor where I can squeeze it in, which will probably be kind of like this, similar angle to the pipe or to the hose. And then I'll plug that sensor in and we'll have fuel pressure for the next time I go out. That way, for whatever reason, if by some chance a pump goes down or something happens, we can see it and we can track it and keep an eye on it. The car has a lot of pump. It has AEM 400s, 380s, whatever they are. I was told they were 400s. People tell me they're 380s. I don't know. It's a lot of pump. It's on E85, so they are a limiting factor, but even still, it's a lot of pump. So it should be okay. It did beautifully on the dyno without having to do any of that other stuff. So we're good. The fuel trims, I think I already said this in the other video, but they were correcting less than 1%, so fantastic overall. So I'm not that concerned right now. I would just like to have the information for later on. But this is where we're at right now on Wednesday night. I'm gonna go get some food because I'm hungry. I am trying. So this video will come out. So I can't really. I have something planned in the upcoming weeks that prevents me from doing some testing. So I was really aiming for this Sunday, but this is where we are on Wednesday. Now let's just do a rundown. Slicks are still not mounted. Still don't have head gaskets or bolts. And I'm heavily bouncing between, do I do head studs or do I head bolts? I know head bolts will work, but at the same time, a head stud would make me feel a lot better, and then I'd only have to buy it once if I have to replace the gaskets. I could reuse them a few times. God forbid that does happen. It'll also give me better clamping pressure, which would be nice because then when we up the boost, it's safer. So that's part of my problem. It needs an alignment. Tomorrow, I am going to get the back end of the car. Actually, probably tonight before I leave. I'm going to get the back end of the car up in the air and tires off on jack stands so I can power bleed the brakes because we didn't have brakes on the dyno, and that's scary. And it's even scarier when you make a pass considering what this thing mile an hour on the dyno. And with the gear and all that stuff, I don't see it being too far off once we get it leaving on boost. I don't see it being too far from the 8th mile, maybe 1,000-foot mark. It is a 411 gear with a 176 first gear. So it's up there, but it might make it through the quarter. It might not. I'm not really worried about the quarter mile times. We don't do a lot of quarter mile stuff down here. So for me personally, it doesn't really matter. 8th mile is where I'm targeting. My goal is for 8th mile. My 8th mile goal is track and Mexico. The same number. I want both numbers. I want to make the same number on both surfaces. That is the goal. That makes it makes this car very competitive in the no prep stuff. So, or pour your own puddles, whatever you want to call it. This would be competitive at the time that I want. So, we'll see. We're gonna get there. I did some measuring on the rockers. So I have the other rockers out here, some in that box, the Manley box. I was kind of hoping I was gonna be able to just transfer the bar and trunnions out of those rockers into the OEM rockers, since one of the aluminum ones is broken, but they're a little bit bigger, and I don't see the meat on the factory rockers that would be adequate for boring out the trunnions in order to fit. So, machinist problems. I looked at it, I tried it. This thing is all sorts of bent up. I think I'm gonna end up bringing it to work and trying to put it under my press at work and squish it out a little bit more. Because right now, with this where it's supposed to be, you can see it lines up perfectly, but it's supposed to be in here because this one is squished. And I don't have anything here to stretch that. So what I might do is go to work and then put it where this bend has been squished, press on that bend and open this up some more so I can get this back in, because right now it's just a giant spring and it shoots at my face when I try to put it in there. So that's why it's just on the floor. But yeah, that's where we're at on Wednesday night. If by some miracle I can figure out getting head gaskets, bolts or studs, and the tires done, And the alignment, it has to go Saturday for an alignment because it's just not, I'm not okay with like the way the wheels are. It's just sketchy. It might be right, but I want someone to tell me it's right or make it right so that it goes straight down the track, because this is going to be enough of a handful without me having to worry about it doing all this crap all the way down the track. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I'm gonna finish up. I'm gonna mount that before I forget, because I keep pushing it off because it was tucked under the table and I had everything kind of covered up. You can see, I covered everything up. I didn't want my nice fridge. It's pretty. I didn't want to go to overspray on it, so I covered it. But I mean, overall, those aren't bad. I ain't mad at it. It'll look a little better in the engine bay. Clean things up. I got bored and I filled in the ICT billet with some black ink because, again, I got bored. It is what it is. But I think that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video, next clip. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. All right, so this video is going to jump a bit. So I'm going to include a couple of clips from last week when we did some repair work. Back together. It's ready to turn on, except for the fact that if you look in here, there's something missing. Somehow, when I was doing that, I don't know if I bumped the alternator wire. Granted, the kill switch was off, but I didn't disconnect the battery all the way initially. So, and then like halfway through it, I was like, probably a good idea. And I did. And it might have been too late at that point. But something arced out and it fed back through the negative ground side because none of the positive fuses were popped on the Holley harness. But Terminator is in the mail, being delivered. It'll be there Tuesday, so today is Saturday. It's gonna be a little bit different. I know this is like the middle of the video, but I'm editing on iMovie now on my phone. We're gonna try that. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna try it. So right now, car's up on jack stands, getting ready to bleed the brakes while my Ryobi battery there somewhere is charging, so I can finish cutting up some sheet metal. I went and saw Dennis, he had a sheet for me. So as you can see here, we got some firewall stuff going on. I'm redesigning it a little bit. So the ends are actually coming in behind this sheet that was already here, and it's gonna get riveted in. And then this back one, that is actually what I was working on. You can see the cut's gonna be that big center section. That's gonna be a little bit wider, and that's gonna wrap around the corners. I wanted to do it more like this, like I did with this one, and then I cut this one too short because I'm a dummy. So you can see it kind of pokes out a little bit up here, but that's it. Not enough for me to wrap it. But anyway, so that's gonna wrap around, and then from the scraps, which I say scraps, but like I have plenty of this stuff. What I'm gonna do is make straps that actually wrap that whole section. They'll be like a 1" by 4" strap or whatever, and then it'll rivet in here on both sides and around this and suck it all in, help close it up. And then I'll buy some aluminum tape too, just to be safe. I still gotta make the cover. It's the only thing left after this, but that'll take care of my firewall from the fuel cell. What else? What else have we done? I started doing some rewiring. It looks like dog poop. So kind of is what it is. I'm not very good at wiring, but everything is, I've replaced all of the crappy connectors that I used, you know, because I didn't have the regular crimp and shrink wrap ones. I had a few of the other ones, and I, you know, mixed and matched, and I've cut all of those crappy ones out and put proper crimps in there, shrink wrap, all that stuff. I put actual shrink wrap over the wiring, or a lot of the wiring. There's some of it that I'm gonna have to add electrical tape to just to clean it up, but it's a little bit less of a bird's nest under there. And and I know all of my connections are sound, which was my problem with the computer. Something shorted out. I don't know what it was, but something did. Shout out to Jeff's Tuning in Ocala. He bench tested the ECU for me. I would have went to Dennis, but I didn't ask him. Someone else recommended Jeff, and I just kind of went with it because Jeff was willing to throw it on the bench for me. Everything I'm doing is remote and drop off and no contact because it's Saturday, which means it's my oldest birthday today, and clearly I'm still in Florida. So unfortunately, I went Thursday to get my pre-flight COVID test. I popped positive. Yeah, no symptoms. I had a temperature of 98.2. No cough, no nothing. I can taste. I'm enjoying a lovely cold Pepsi out of my nice cooler from in the garage. I've had breakfast today. I've ate all the last few days. So I'm going Monday to try and get retested and hope it goes negative so that I can go back to work. Otherwise, I'm poop out of luck for 2 weeks. But what that does mean is for the next 2 weeks, this is the focus. This is all I have to do anyways. So we're going to try and get it done. But I have to do it very, very sparingly cost-wise. The law that states I'm supposed to get paid expired first of the year. So they're not required to pay me. So I'm not trying to spend any money. I'm literally just budgeting the whole fucking budgeting it, but trying to get stuff done. Like I said, that got shipped out to Holly. Holly should have Tuesday. Ideally, what I'd like to see is it not be anything crazy. They can fix it pretty quick. If they can get it back in the mail by Thursday, that would put it back here Monday, Tuesday time of next week. And we should be able to turn the car back on. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to now bleed the brakes because we found out on the dyno that the brakes don't work. I said that on the other video, but so I'm going to bleed out these rear brakes real quick and do that while the battery charges, and then I'll finish doing the sheet metal. Obviously, we're going to miss the no prep, unfortunately. It just kind of is what it is. And I'm not even going to be able to be there to support my friends. That was my plan, was I was going to go support the Garcia brothers and whoever else came down with them. But with what's going on, hold on, Pepsi break. So yummy. With everything else going on, I'm quarantined, so obviously I can't. But with that being said, this is the focus. If I get a negative result on Monday, I'm going. That's pretty straightforward, but that's it. Like, other than that, I'm poop out of luck. So we're gonna get back to this. I'm gonna try and time lapse some of this stuff, maybe. We'll see. But we'll see how this iMovie stuff works. And yeah, let's get to it. All right, mean a Twizzler, best snack in the world. So we have a fuel cover. I do still need to get in there and measure out where the Zeus fasteners are, because we do have those. I drilled this hole just so I could hold it in place while I bent some of this stuff over. Everything overlaps pretty well. So it should contain, if God forbid we have a problem, it should contain that. So next step is I'm gonna make my supports for the battery so that that's taken care of.
yeah, I might. Problem is where the battery is, there's not a lot of space, like none. It just fits the battery. And getting the battery back there is going to be a pain in the butt. But I don't have many options. So I might even make like a little wall that goes behind there and then fastens to the quarter or to the quarter metal here, and the fuel covering kind of blocks that off. I'm supposed to have a box. And I don't know how I'm gonna get a box in there. So that might be my solution. But this is where we're at. Not bad. And I can actually just slide it up and out of the way, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I do still need some aluminum tape. I'm gonna throw a couple of rivets in these side panels just to keep them in the bar. There's a couple pre-existing holes from where they had something similar before that I'm gonna try to utilize. This one's gonna be a little tight. This one's not so bad. The passenger side's not so bad. The driver's side pushes out a little bit. So I know I'm gonna at least throw one in there. Just snug that up so that it's not such a pain in the butt to get the cover on and off. But the cover goes pretty smoothly, front and back. Fun fact, a jack pole, try and do this one-handed, is precisely the right diameter as my down bars in the back. So I was fighting smashing in one of the sides, and I took it off and I put the jack pole in that radius, and then I just muscled it over there, put it back on, and it's nice. That's where I get this nice snug fit from. So the only part that's not radiused is down here. That's because we had a flat section right there that I could go off of. So that's what I did with that. And yeah, see you in the next clip. I'm gonna try and time lapse some stuff. I tried for the brakes, but I'm not even gonna bother including it because most of the time lapse was spent me trying to find the wrench that I needed and then just coming to the conclusion that I was not getting the bleeders out. So it looks like we need some Explorer calipers. Late 90s, early 2000s. I'm gonna make some calls in a little bit and see how much that's gonna set me back. But unfortunately, I don't have any other choice. I can't bleed the brakes, and we have basically 0 brakes in the back. So not safe, especially for what this did in the mile an hour on the dyno. And that was with all the leaks and everything else. I can only see it going up from there. So yeah, we're gonna get that fixed. All right, guys. Well, I made a mess today. I'm working on something, and if you're observant, you would have caught a hint of it. Actually, no. Why am I hinting? I have the time-lapse video is me working on it. So, I'm working on the wing. I had spare material, so why not? I did goof up a little bit, and I made these cuts in here. I did the radius. Like a smart person, I used the part that I was using to measure with. However, one curves one way. When you trace it, curves the other way if you don't trace it the right way. Dummy. So now what I have is this little step-in area. It's not a huge deal. I just have 2 small brackets riveted on for right now so I can see where the stuff's gonna go. Nothing's riveted to the car. There's no holes drilled in the car just in case I don't like it. That's simple. I did make some, they're all under here drying.
little covers. This is driver's side. So this will get bolted in there. I have 2 of those, and then I have one for the keyhole that will get bolted in. And I'll use button head screws for all that stuff. So it's nice and clean. There's no holes to the back. The fuel cell cover, I'm just missing the proper sized Zeus fastener. So in case you didn't know, I don't know where I put the other one, but Zeus fasteners have a different lengths on them, and the brackets they used are the deeper ones. The Zeus clips I have are the shorter ones, so I could use that as mock-up and drill the holes for the fasteners for when they do come here so I can rivet them in place, but I'm just gonna find a way to get over to American Motorsports and pick up a couple. I need like 4, so whatever. It is what it is, but it's situated. That fits good. The battery bracket or battery tie down's done, and it's tight. The wing is started. The rear brakes are off. Advance in Orange City, or no, AutoZone in Orange City has the calipers I need, and they're cheap. So I think I'm gonna go get, or again, figure out how to go get those tomorrow. Because again, I'm not supposed to be leaving my house, so I might call my aunt and see if she can do it, and then I'll just cash up her the money or whatever. They're like 30 bucks a piece with the cores, so that'll be the only thing that'll suck for her is she has to drive past it, coming from her house to my house, pick the cores up, and then go back. So I don't really want to do that. I might just meet her there and like be like, here you go, like go in the back of my truck, there's a bag, take the bag, go inside, buy the other ones, here's my debit card, whatever, and you know, something. I'm genuinely trying. God forbid I actually am. You know, again, not that I really think I am. I've been eating Twizzlers all day and they're delicious. I had a Pepsi, I've, you know, had my breakfast. I should really have dinner. It's like 8:30, something like that, and I haven't eaten yet. I've basically been living off Twizzlers because once I start getting going on stuff, I don't usually stop. I am gonna stop now though. I might pick up because made a pretty big mess. But yeah, so I do have a time lapse of working on the side plates, the sill plates. It's not very long off the car, which is fine. Part of the reason I did that, well, let's see exactly. It is just shy of 8 inches. It's like 7 3/4 inches off the back of the car. There's 2 reasons why I did that. One, some classes, not very many, but some classes have a wing length restriction. 2, I have to put fuel in the back of the car. So if I make this any longer, and this is actually bigger because I trimmed it to fit all the way up to the glass. So everything comes directly off, you know, aerodynamics, trying to be smart. But if I made this any longer, putting fuel in the fuel cell would suck. So I planned accordingly and I moved it so it's not super far out. Initially I was planning on like 11 inches, 12 inches, something like that. But this car just doesn't really need it. Actually, it's gonna be 7 inches when it's done because, I'll show you this right here. There's 3/4 of an inch or so that sticks out past that I'm gonna find a way to bend 90 degrees up, and that'll be my built-in wicker, which will also make that whole piece significantly more rigid, which I'm hoping between those and a couple of the aluminum brackets to the sill plates and then all that stuff, I'm hoping I won't need struts. I may at some point need struts, or I'll come under here and I can make like strutless brackets to hold this up, because the plan is to get this up a little bit more. Right now it's just kind of sloping with the car, because the trunk on this car does have a natural slope to it. So I want to kind of pick it up a little bit and have it come, you know, down and then off in a straight angle. Mostly because if I don't do it that way, the sill plates look kind of funky. All of my major cuts were done with a skill saw, which you'll see. It's actually right there.
But then all the small stuff I had to do by hand, so I just used snips, and it's not fun, it's not pretty. I will go through and I will grind, you know, all the sharp stuff off, and get it smoothed out, and then it'll probably get painted black, because why not? It's cheap, it's easy. I'll scuff it once everything's all done. Like these brackets, I'm not terribly upset with these brackets. The hardest thing right now is just like I don't have hands, so you'll see I have magnets everywhere. That one broke. I have this great, if you don't have one of these magnet pads, it's the greatest thing ever. Definitely pick one up. Shout out to my sister for buying me one for Christmas one time, because I'm a car guy and she didn't know what to buy me that wasn't expensive. That thing is great. I use it all the time. It's my third hand. But yeah, so that's that. And you can see the cover, my cheapy rivet gun, but the cover is slid up, and that's pretty much how it's gonna work. That whole system is not necessarily gonna come off. It's just gonna go up and out of my way. So I think that'll work pretty good. But that's it for tonight. I think I'm gonna start a new video tomorrow. I'm gonna use tonight to mess with the iMovie stuff and get this video out. So as always, comment, like, share, subscribe. Get up and get after it.